What's up YouTube? How are you doing today? Chana D, your Techno Dad here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my experience comparing IMAX Enhanced with DTS X and Dolby Atmos. And we're going to check it out right after a word from our sponsor, the Hi-Fi Summit.
Have you ever wanted to attend a hi-fi trade show, but couldn't? Now you can. On June 26th to 30th, the Hi-Fi Summit begins. It's going to be a 5-day event available to people worldwide. There you can see your favorite brands, and you'll get to see all the new products before anybody else. If you're shopping for products, you can even narrow down your search based on price and other specific criteria. You'll be able to chat live with other audio enthusiasts, ask questions about products and get them answered directly by the companies. You'll be able to vote for best in show. You can even leave testimonials for your favorite brands. But no trade show is complete without an after party. So we're going to have Techno Dad spinning every single night. So you'll be able to sit back at home, bump it on your system, go to the HiFiSummit.com, buy your ticket, and let your hi-fi journey to the top begin.
All right, now if you haven't bought your ticket for the Hi-Fi Summit, I suggest you do so fast. We just added 2 more sponsors. PSB is a gold sponsor and Denon is a platinum sponsor. So I'm sure they're going to have some cool stuff to give away. Make sure you check out your link and buy your ticket down in the description. If you're new here to the channel, don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that bell so you get notified when videos like this one drop, because again, I got a whole lot more content coming at you and it's gonna be awesome. Oh yes, it will be good. One thing I want you guys to know for sure is that IMAX Enhanced is a top layer on top of DTS X, which is actually a top layer on top of DTS Master Audio. Okay, just like Dolby Atmos is a top layer on top of Dolby True HD. So if you guys didn't know that, now you know. So to do this test, I have the Jumanji The Next Level disc. It's a 4K UHD disc, and it has the DTS X and IMAX Enhanced on the disc. So where am I gonna get Atmos from? Well, I'm gonna get it from the Vudu app on the Apple TV 4K. So I've got Oppo 203 going into Denon X6500H, and then I've got the movie playing on the Vudu app on Apple TV 4K going into the Denon AVR. Now I know what you're gonna say, you know, it's not gonna be the same, but this is gonna be the closest comparison we can get right now because there just isn't a movie that's in all the formats right now. I wish there were more. Like, I really wish Bumblebee or even Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, because I have that in Atmos and Oro 3D already. So it'd be cool to get that in IMAX Enhanced so I can compare those 3. So that's just one of the things. I just wish these movies would be released already. I mean, they're already out. So like, come on, people. Let's get it together. Now, if you're wondering what equipment I'm using, I have a full-on reference system with big amplifiers, nice speakers, full works. Okay, I'm not going to get into all of that because I've already gone to great lengths on that. I'll put a link down in the description and with the card up top to my home theater tour 3.0, and you guys can check that out if you haven't seen it already, or you just want to look at some cool stuff again. Go for it. All right, so I'm going to start this by giving you guys some of what I perceived while watching the same scene in Jumanji, kind of like over and over. So the scene I chose to check out and compare is the ostrich kind of like chase scene, I guess you would call it. Yeah, that's right? They're chasing them with the ostriches, or being chased by ostriches. So around the 33-minute mark to just under 38 minutes, around 37:50, when The Rock says, "That was fantastic." That's kind of where I ended it. In this scene, it's completely dynamic. Like, there's some soft-ish quiet parts, and there's just like huge rumbles. You know, rocket grenade thing goes off and it's just crazy. Okay, and then you got the rumble of like this herd of ostriches coming at you, or coming at the, you know, characters in the movie. Anyway, one of the things I noticed was that the IMAX Enhanced just has a lot more rumble. Okay, it had a lot more low end. That was the one thing I noticed like straight away. I am listening to this at my main listening position, 14 feet away, all that. And I did run some measurements, and we're going to get to those in a minute. But just from what I felt and what I heard, I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of crazy. One of the other things I noticed is that IMAX Enhanced had more information coming out of the surround channels. Okay, so just the speakers to the left and right of me were actually kind of filled with volume. So I'm not sure what they're doing there, but I did notice that. And that is comparing IMAX Enhanced to DTS X. Now, funny thing, when I went over to Atmos and watched the scene a few times and then A/B'd it against DTS X, now I felt the bass on the Atmos track was less than the IMAX Enhanced for sure, but it was around the same-ish for the DTS-X bass response. So that was kind of interesting. Now, the other thing I noticed the most, there's a minute, like 37 even to 37:50, when The Rock says something like, you know, those are flightless birds, and then the other character, Karen or whatever, she was like, this is a flightless dune buggy. And then the birds come into the roof of the dune buggy and start pecking it out and just rip it off. Now, in the Atmos track, the height channels in that part, just that little part, are like on blast. Like they're almost like, hey, I'm up here. Whereas both the DTS-X and IMAX Enhanced, very subtle. I didn't notice it while I was watching the IMAX Enhanced version and then the DTS-X version, but for sure, Atmos made me realize, hey, there's something going on up there. And then I rewatched the IE version and I rewatched the DTS-X version, and out of those two, it's harder to hear height channels on DTS-X. The IMAX Enhanced height channels definitely had a little bit more volume and I could definitely hear something going on, but for sure, Atmos took the cake on the height effects in that, I don't know, 10, 15, 20-second situation when they're ripping the roof off the dune buggy. So that was one of the more interesting observations I made while doing this comparison. And I know from Atmos and DTS-X, you know, all the demo discs I have, like I've got 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 DTS-X demo discs. I've got the 2016 and 2018 Atmos demo discs. And even just from those, I could already tell that the height channels on DTS-X are, I wouldn't say muted or subdued, but just quieter. And I think what they're trying to do there is just make it more immersive by not just being like, hey, look up, look at me, I'm up here. And that's kind of how I felt like Atmos was. Like, it almost detracted from the immersiveness because it was so loud. And I looked up and I was just like, oh, instead of, you know, re-listening to the IMAX Enhanced and the DTS-X version, and I could hear it coming from above, but I didn't necessarily, it wasn't like jarring enough for me to look up. Unless that's what you're supposed to be doing, you know, getting scared out of your pants and looking up, you know, if that could be what Atmos was going for, or whoever was mixing that part of the movie. Maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know. I recall the first 4K UHD disc I had that had DTS-X was Lone Survivor, and I made a review video about that back in 2016, I think. So definitely look for that, or I'll try to find it and put it in the description. But the bottom line that I noticed there is that even with the helicopter flying overhead, or like explosions that would throw debris that kind of falls on you, it's very subtle. I didn't think it was too subtle, but I noticed that it was there, but I had to like listen for it. And when I wasn't listening for it, it just kind of happened. So I don't know if that's too quiet or intentional by the mixing engineer. I don't know, but I know they are more quiet. And for me, it sounded to me like the IMAX Enhanced implementation of the height channels in that particular scene was just more immersive because it didn't have me looking up just because noise was coming from up there. Does that make sense? I hope you can understand what that means. Anyway, let's go on to the measurements. All right, so I'm using a UMK1 calibrated microphone and REW Room EQ Wizard just to take some frequency response of the three immersive audio formats. Now, as you can see here, we've got Atmos in the green, we've got the red as DTS-X, and IMAX Enhanced is blue. You can see right away my first initial impression, bass is huge on IMAX Enhanced. Now, if we check out the 40 Hz peak right there, IMAX Enhanced is coming in at 100.5, DTS-X 97.9, and Atmos at 97.2. So between the IMAX Enhanced and the DTS-X, we've got a 3 decibel gap. So if you've been with the channel, you guys know, I've said it before plenty of times, to get a 3 decibel boost, you need to double your power output. So that kind of shows me right there that IMAX Enhanced is really putting a lot of output to those subwoofers, and that's definitely good, you know, in a movie. It looks like between 40 and 60 Hertz, Atmos drops off faster than the other two. At 117, we can see them separate again, and IMAX Enhanced is on top, 90.4, DTS-X at 87.4, and Dolby Atmos at 87.0. Again, there's another 3 dB difference between IMAX Enhanced and DTS-X, and that kind of stays around that same point until we get to 200 hertz. Now, between the 200 and around 330-ish, Atmos seems to be quieter than the other two. We get a peak at 460 hertz, and it looks like DTS-X actually gets higher than IMAX Enhanced. You see the red line just above the blue line, and Atmos not trailing far behind that much, but it's still in last place, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. It looks like they're just right on top of each other in that aspect. Now, when we get to between 600 and 1500, Atmos is lower than the other two again. It looks like DTS-X is higher around 700, and around 800 or 900, it kind of goes lower than IMAX Enhanced. But for the most part, they look pretty much on par. You know, sometimes DTS-X is higher than IMAX Enhanced, but for the most part, when we go higher up on the frequency response, we can see that they're pretty much on par, right around that 1500-ish mark. So it's definitely cool to see that the measurements kind of confirmed what I was already hearing, except for, of course, the Atmos stuff. I would have to unplug all my speakers and then just listen to my high channels to see exactly how different or how much louder those high channels were. So maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't, I don't know. There's a lot more videos I need to make, so I am so stoked to have finally made this. I've been talking about making this video for about 3 weeks now, so I had to, you know, learn how to use this software. So big up to Joe, my man from Joe and Tell channel. He helped me figure out how to work REW for my specific use case. And, you know, I used the moving microphone method, and it took multiple passes, right? It took a bunch of different passes and measurements during that like 5-minute time span. It wasn't just one measurement, it was an average of measurements, moving mic method in my listening position. So thanks, Joe, for that. I'm sure my viewers love this little technical background to the whole situation. So thanks, buddy. So if you're wondering how you can get IMAX Enhanced, that is on Denon and Marantz AV receivers. I think Onkyo has some as well. If you're looking at Denon receivers, the X3500H, which is a couple of years old, they started to have IMAX Enhanced. The 4500H, the 6500H is the one I'm using. And I'm sure you guys know the X3600H was released last year. Now the X3700, 4700, and 6700 are being released this month and the next couple of following months. So they will have IMAX Enhanced as well. So it looks like brand new. It'll be minimum $1,100 on a receiver to get IMAX Enhanced, unless you go with an older model like the X3600H or 3500H. And I think the Onkyo one is the 830 or 840 of their higher end line. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll probably have a link to it and put something up on screen while I'm editing. Just didn't have time to look it up. But anyway, that's how you get it. And of course, you'll need a 4K Blu-ray player. I believe Fandango now has been streaming IMAX Enhanced content, so definitely look there if you're looking for more content. But I'm still waiting on some more 4K discs, especially Bumblebee and the Homecoming, the Spider-Man movie. Is it Homecoming or is it Far From Home? I think it's Homecoming that they were saying that they were going to release an IMAX Enhanced. But who knows? Maybe it's taken so long, they're just not even going to put that out and then just move on to the other movie. I don't know. Now, if you guys at home have any questions about this or anything else, let me know down in the comments below or on email or social, whatever you like to use. And that pretty much wraps up this video. If you liked it, go ahead, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel using the button in the middle of your screen. Once again, my name is Chana D. I'm your Techno Dad, and I'll see you next time.